Let's see here. Comments. Can I get comments pulled up? We've already notified the Discord that we are live. We are on top of things today, chat. Now I just need to get these comments pulled up. And we'll be good. Alright, there we go. Believe we got it. What is up, everybody? Wonderbro here with Vacave Fear. Back with another stream today. It's about 3 p.m. my time, so this is a pretty average stream time for us. So I'm hoping to see all the familiar faces in here today. Today we're going to be talking about understanding the caveman brain. Now, usually here on the channel, okay, we talk about one or the other as far as our two main keys are concerned, which if you've been here for a while, you already know the two main keys, or should, like the back of your hand. But if you're new, okay, if you're new here, the two main keys are to accept your feelings, positive accepting behaviors to show your brain there is no real danger, right? Your brain is watching, and leave the thoughts alone, because fighting with them is absolutely pointless and extremely stressful. So that is our two main keys to recovery. However, usually here on the channel, we focus on one or the other, right? Like most of our streams are dedicated to one or the other, whether we're talking about leaving the thoughts alone or we're talking about positive accepting behaviors. However, today, understanding the caveman brain, the title of this stream, we are going to be talking about both of the two main keys and how this works, how this all works, how this all plays into recovery, how you can retrain your brain if you are stuck, seems like you're stuck, in a state of anxiety. Jay, what is up, dude? Welcome to the stream. Sanchez on time, my man. What is up? So yeah, guys, we're going to be covering both of the two main keys in this stream. That way we can kind of talk about where they both serve their purpose, why they both serve their purpose, why there even is two main keys, right? Michael, what's up, dude? Welcome to the stream. Hey, Wonderbro, dude, you must live close to me. It's 3 p.m. here, too. Awesome, yes. So, give it a few minutes. Let some people get in here. Two Tires, what's up, dude? It's been a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get this adjusted. There we go. But yeah, as I was saying, guys, I know that normally here on the channel we either focus on leaving your thoughts alone or we focus on positive behaviors, right? Because those are the two main keys. But I would like to start doing more streams where we kind of focus on both, because why not? I see a lot of people, they're either heavily focused on leaving their thoughts alone, but yet they have very negative, fearful behaviors. Or I see the opposite. I see people still living their lives trying to have these positive behaviors, but they're still arguing with their thoughts. So either way you turn, whether you have very negative, fearful behaviors, this is going to tell the brain, it's going to show the brain that there must be some sort of danger. The brain doesn't know any better, right? Or whether you're arguing with your thoughts, this is going to continue to stress you out. It's going to continue to be a losing battle, and it's going to continue to keep you in this state of stress, right? So either way you turn, you do have to use both of the two main keys, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I don't want anyone here on the channel to forget that we have two main keys for a reason, right? Will, what's up, dude? It's been a minute. How you been? Welcome to the stream. You guys are early today. Sanchez, Will, I normally don't see you guys until later on in the stream. What's up? What is up? Welcome, welcome. So this stream in particular was kind of inspired by some comments that I got on the Vacate Fear Facebook page. I was posting some things today about how the amygdala learns, right? How it's watching your behaviors to determine if these false alarms of anxiety are needed or not. It's watching your behaviors and how you react to these false alarms to determine whether or not you're in any real danger. I was posting about stuff like that, and I got some comments that were kind of like along the lines of, well, isn't leaving your thoughts alone enough? And that's where I was kind of like, maybe there's some people out there that are still kind of confused. Maybe there's some people out there that don't quite understand why we tackle this on two fronts, right? Why we leave the thoughts alone and have positive accepting behaviors. Maybe there's some people out there that are trying to do one or the other, but they're forgetting that we have two for a reason. So we're going to talk about that today. Understanding the caveman brain. Good, man. What about you? I'm doing good, man. I'm a little tired. I'm not gonna lie, but we're gonna knock out this stream, dude. We're gonna knock out this stream regardless. We'll give it another minute or so. Let some people get in here. We've already got kind of a full chat going as far as the viewers are concerned. So, understanding the caveman brain. Quitting caffeine has made the biggest difference. Your teachings help maintain my recovery. That's awesome, Jay. It helps some people, and for other people, it doesn't make that big of a difference. I mean, like I always say, everybody's different, right? Everybody's different. But the two main keys all the way, dude. If you're gonna follow my two main keys, if that's the choice that you're gonna make, then drive it home. Drive it home, right? All right, guys, we're about 5 minutes into this, so really no sense in waiting any longer. We're going to go ahead and get started. So as I was saying, we have two main keys for a reason. Usually here on the channel, we focus on one or the other. However, I want to focus on both, and I want to explain why both are needed, right? So let's start with the thoughts. Leave your thoughts alone. We talk a lot here on the channel about how when you experience these negative intrusive thoughts, even if they bring anxiety, which they probably will bring anxiety if you are in a sensitized nervous system, you have to leave them alone, because getting involved with them and trying to fight them is a cycle. It's almost like a never-ending cycle that just fuels these thoughts. It puts you in a state of stress. It makes everything so much worse because now you're battling physically and mentally. So it just makes everything so much worse. You're fueling these thoughts. They're gaining power. They're gaining control over you, and these thoughts aren't even important. If you weren't sensitized, these thoughts wouldn't matter anyway. If these thoughts didn't bring the false alarm of anxiety with them, you wouldn't care about them. So trying to do anything about the thoughts and trying to fight the thoughts is really irrelevant. It's very, 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 as most of you guys already know, very, very, very stressful. And that is why one of our two main keys is to just leave them alone, because that's not what's important here. What's important is healing. And once you heal, these false alarms, these protective thoughts that your brain sends your way, they will be laughable. You'll be laughing at them. And I know, there's probably a lot of people out there that can't glimpse that right now. They can't possibly see how one day they could be laughing at these thoughts that are causing them so much anxiety right now. But ask anybody who's healed, it does happen. It does happen. And, that's why one of our two main keys is just to leave them alone. Fighting with them is not only pointless, but it also is very, very, very stressful on your already tired nerves. So it's completely pointless, because once you heal, it won't matter anyway. And fighting with them gets you nowhere. And fighting with them is it's a very stressful act. So it's just continuing to add more stress to your already tired nerves. And that's why we say when you have a negative thought, just leave it alone. Remind yourself to leave it alone and just get on with your day with positive accepting behaviors. So this brings me to key number 2, positive accepting behaviors. How does the brain learn, right? The brain doesn't actually know, and this is a very, very important fact for you to hang on and to remember. The brain doesn't actually know if you are in any real danger or not. It has no clue. It's based on your behaviors. The brain wants to see whether or not these false alarms of anxiety are relevant, whether or not they are needed, right? And so herein lies the cycle. People start to fight with the thoughts because they think thoughts are the problem. Therefore, they become even more stressed. Therefore, they use even more negative behaviors. They're starting to quit their hobbies. They're starting to quit doing things they enjoy. They're starting to quit talking to people about things they enjoy. They're starting to stop listening to their favorite music. They're starting to develop a very defeated posture. They're started to walk around as this person with all these very fearful, negative behaviors. So there's the cycle. We become sensitized. Thoughts start to cause an alarm of anxiety that they normally wouldn't. So we think we need to deal with the thoughts. So we start fighting with the thoughts. The thoughts were never the problem. The problem is that you're sensitized. But here you are, fighting with these thoughts, causing extra stress, extra, so much extra stress by this fight that you will not win with these thoughts, right? So you're causing extra stress in an already sensitized, tired body. And then, therefore, you're using very negative behaviors. You're dropping all of your positive behaviors. You're dropping living your life because of the way you feel. So what happens next is that the brain sees this. The brain sees this, and then it starts to assume there must be a real danger. So you get more and more anxiety, so you continue to fight the thoughts more and more and more. So you see why we've got the two main keys, right? Fighting the thoughts is irrelevant. Fighting the thoughts is pointless, and that's why we say leave them alone when they come, and instead focus on your positive accepting behaviors. This is what's going to retrain your brain, right? So that's the two main keys right there. Now, as I was saying earlier, there's some people that focus primarily just on trying to leave their thoughts alone, but yet they're not showing their brain any sort of positivity. They are still reacting very fearfully to the false alarm. They are still using all of their coping methods or whatever it may be. They're still showing their brain that there is a problem where there's not a problem, right? So that's why you really have to use both of the two main keys, because with the two main keys, we tackle the anxiety on both fronts. We take you out of that stressful fight with the mind, which is just, like we said, completely pointless anyway. It won't matter once you heal. So we take you out of that completely pointless and stressful fight with the mind, and we make you focus on what is important. And what is important is proving to the brain that there's no real danger. How do you do that? Okay? I don't want you to think that I am asking you to get up and rush around in a great panic and fill all of your day, 24 hours of your day, with positive things to do and positive behaviors. I am simply asking that you try to get back into your normal life as much as possible, and you try to wear a smile more often, and you try to pick up your shoulders and raise your chin more often, and you try to get things done around the house, and you try to hold a conversation with your friend about your favorite band or movie. All I'm asking is not for you to do the impossible. All I'm asking is that you show the brain by behaving in such a way, okay, that the brain starts to realize that there is no real danger. And this can be in big ways, and this can be in small ways, okay? It can come down to as simple as your posture, as putting a smile on, as doing things that you stop doing because of the anxiety, as treating, okay, life as not a real danger so that your brain can catch up, right? So we're not asking you to do everything that you've ever dreamt of doing in order to show the anxiety that there's no real danger. What we are asking you to do is to show the brain, especially while the anxiety is there. Most importantly, while the anxiety is there, right? Because that is when the brain learns the most. That there is no need for this false alarm in big or small ways. You got to think of it like this. This will make it a bit more clear, right? This will make it a bit easier for people to understand when we say positive accepting behaviors. How would you behave, or how would you act, or what would you do throughout your day if there was no real danger? If there was no anxiety, right? Anxiety is not a danger, but your brain thinks there is a real danger, therefore you get anxiety. So, how would you act and how would you behave throughout your day? And what decisions would you make throughout your day if there was no real danger? Because there's not a real danger. Your brain thinks there is, but there's not. So, that kind of helps put it in perspective. We're not asking you to do the impossible. We're not asking you to wear yourself out with these positive accepting behaviors. We're simply asking you to ask yourself the question, how would I behave and what decisions would I make if there was no real danger? Because there's not a real danger, and now I need to prove that to my brain. So what we're doing with the two main keys is every time we get a negative thought, we are reminding ourselves that's not what's important. I'm being bluffed. This is a false alarm. As soon as I heal, these thoughts won't matter anyway. So instead of fighting with the thoughts, which is just extra stress and completely pointless, I'm going to put all of my energy into what is important, which is positive accepting behaviors to retrain the brain. Now, one point I do want to tackle, because I get this a lot. People say, well, isn't that faking it, Wonder Bro? Isn't that faking it? And the way I like to put it is, if I'm not feeling kind today, and we made this point yesterday, if I'm not feeling kind today, if I'm feeling very grumpy today, but yet I go out of my way to help the old lady cross the road, does somebody come up to me after I do that and say, that's fake kindness? You're using fake kindness. You're grumpy today. You shouldn't be using fake kindness, right? So there's no such thing as faking it. I like to put it as showing your brain the truth, showing your brain that there is no real danger. Because as long as you continue to behave like there is a real danger, and you continue to put all of your energy into fighting with these thoughts instead of what's important, which is retraining your brain with positive accepting behaviors, you stay stuck in this cycle, right? So we would never go up to somebody who was kind and say, you know what, that's fake kindness. I know that you're feeling grumpy today, so why did you use fake kindness, right? You can live and you can act independently of these feelings that you know are there for no good reason. right? To prove to the brain that they don't need to be there. And that's not called faking it. That's not called pretending. That is called living independently of these feelings that you know are there for no reason, for no purpose. That is called retraining your brain. Right? So, again, the two main keys in a nutshell, and all you need to know to recover is stop the pointless, stressful fight with the thoughts, because the thoughts aren't the problem. The problem is you're sensitized. And once you heal, the thoughts will sort themselves and they won't matter anyway. So stop the stressful, and pointless fight with your thoughts, because that's getting you nowhere. So that's one of our two main keys. Stop the stressful and pointless fight with your thoughts. Simply remind yourself you're being bluffed, and then I want you to take your energy and I want you to take your focus and put it on what does matter. Put it on what is important, which is retraining your brain with positive accepting behaviors. How do you do that? Ask yourself, how would you behave and what decisions would you make if there was no real danger, right? So, and I'm going to go over this one last time. Okay, you guys know me. I like to make sure I drive my points home, right? So I'm going to go over this one more time. Understanding the caveman brain. The caveman brain needs to see that there's no real danger in order to stop trying to protect you. So fighting with the thoughts is pointless because they'll take care of themselves once you heal. If the caveman brain wants to see that there is no real danger, how do you show it that there is no real danger? A, stop fighting with the thoughts. Remember, they're just a bluff. And B, put all of your focus and energy into retraining your brain with positive, accepting behaviors, right? And that's not called faking it. That is called showing your brain that this false alarm is not needed. Because logically, you know this false alarm is not needed. And now your brain needs to be shown that. So it's not faking it. It's called showing your brain the truth. It's called retraining your brain. So whew, that was a mouthful, and that, my friends, is the two main keys to recovery. Understanding the caveman brain. The fight with the thoughts is pointless, and it is very, very stressful, so leave that fight alone. Instead, put your energy into retraining that brain with positive, accepting behaviors in big or small ways. Every time you use a positive, accepting behavior, whether it is big or small, you are starting to show your brain the truth. Will these feelings and thoughts vanish overnight as soon as you start doing that? Probably not. But every time you do it, and every time you dedicate to it throughout your day, you are showing your brain the absolute truth. All right? All right. Whew. Understanding the caveman brain. So, as I always say, guys, at this point in the stream, if you are listening to my advice, if you are enjoying my advice, but you are not using it, you're not going to get very far, right? And I know that sounds very obvious, but I like to point that out because there is a lot of people that like to learn. There is a lot of people that like to hear about this sort of thing. It's very interesting, right? But at the same time, they're using negative behaviors all day long. They're staying in bed and they're fighting with their thoughts, so they're doing the complete opposite of the two main keys, right? And I understand that because I've been there. How to change our behavior. So again, you just ask yourself, how would I behave and what decisions would I make if there was no real danger? If I felt fine, and then do that, right? And that can be big or small things. It doesn't really matter. We're not asking you to do the impossible. We're not asking you to rush around and try to accomplish your entire wish list in one day. We're simply asking you, if there was no real danger, would I be in bed huddled up right now, or would I be laid on the couch with my feet up, sipping on a bubbly and watching a funny comedy on Netflix? Yeah, I'd probably be laying on my couch with my feet up watching a funny comedy on Netflix. So you see what we're getting at. You see what we're getting at. We're not asking anybody to do the impossible. We're not asking you to drain your batteries completely and run around doing this and that. We're simply asking you to ask yourself the question, what would you do if there is no real danger? How would you behave and what decisions would you make? And then do that thing, right? That's what we're asking you to do, not the impossible. You need to show the brain that there is no need, okay? No need for this anxiety. So drop the stressful fight with your thoughts because that's just extra stress. It's going to get you nowhere. You can't reason with the dumb caveman brain anyway. So that is why one of our two main keys is to stop doing that, leave the thoughts alone, and instead focus on retraining your brain with positive accepting behaviors. Good evening from Wells. What's up, Carrie? How you doing? Hope you're having a fantastic day. So You guys know I love examples. I love examples. Let's give another example real quick. Let's say you're sitting there and you're minding your own business and you have all of these thoughts going on in your head right now about this, about that. Context irrelevant. We don't really care what the context is, but let's just say you have a brain full of negative thoughts and it's causing a lot of anxiety in the body. Okay, so what would you do if you're going to use the two main keys at that point? So the two main keys state, okay, first and foremost, you wouldn't try to fight with those thoughts. You'd leave them alone. Secondly, you would want to retrain your brain in that moment. How do you do that? Drop trying to fight the thoughts because that's pointless and stressful, and put all of your energy and focus into positive accepting behaviors while you remind yourself that you're simply being bluffed and that you need to teach your brain that these thoughts is not a real danger, are not real dangers, right? So what would you do in that moment? Would you A, drop what you were doing and go to bed and sit in a huddled position and start hitting Google and start hitting the forums and start doing all these whatever coping methods are? Or would you B, continue doing whatever it is you were doing and you let that brain produce that false alarm, you let that brain produce that anxiety, and you hold on to the truth that it is a bluff and that you don't need to fight with these thoughts and that you simply need to continue doing what you're doing and retrain your brain. Show your brain by not reacting fearfully to the fear that there is no real danger in these thoughts, right? That is what you would do. You want to recover? This is the way. I'm living proof. That is awesome, dude. Congrats on your recovery. Please, please, guys, if you have recovered, if you have made progress, I know there's a lot of people here on the channel that have. Please feel free to share your story in detail with the chat. It really helps to motivate others. We can never have enough motivation here. We can never have enough motivation. So please feel free to share your success with the chat. Please feel free to vouch for the two main keys, all right? Feel free to vouch for the two main keys, guys. But yeah, chat, I know how alarming it can be sometimes. I know it can catch you completely off guard. I know it feels normal to want to argue with the thoughts because you think the thoughts need to be solved, right? But that just makes them grow. Okay, fighting with the thoughts is completely pointless. You just need to retrain your brain, okay? And then the thoughts will become irrelevant. So instead of putting your energy on fighting with the thoughts, which is just extra, extra, extra stress, put all of that energy, put that same amount of energy into your positive accepting behaviors, even if you don't feel the best, even if you feel like shit, because you know you're being bluffed, and now you need to prove that to your brain, right? You know you're being bluffed, and now the brain needs to be shown that. That way the brain can correct itself. The brain is looking up to you guys. It's not a guarantee that people in the future will fall back into the sensitized state, Brady. It is possible, right? But that would mean you would literally have to pick up all your bad habits and totally toss the two main keys out the window. And I don't think anybody's willing to do that to themselves. So it's not impossible to fall back, right? It's not impossible. If you tired your body out once, sure, you can do it again. But why would you? You get what I'm saying? After you know what you know now, it's highly unlikely that you would do that. Highly unlikely. The ball's in your court. Nothing is doing this to you, so there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to fear. The ball is literally in your court, guys. The ball is in your court, ladies and gents. And that is understanding the caveman brain. Now, I know sometimes it's hard to go against those survival instincts. You just want to do what you're used to doing, use all those bad habits again, right? But you got to remember you're being bluffed, and it's time to show that to the brain. You're being bluffed, and it's time to show that to the brain. Wonder Bro, you've changed my life with the two main keys. That's awesome. Thank you for making it so clear. I am well on my way. I'm so grateful. That is awesome, Sarah. Congrats. Again, guys, I love to hear comments like that, but not just for me. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I just love comments like that because I love other people that are in the chat right now that are suffering. I like them to see that positivity. I like them to see that motivation so that maybe once this stream goes off, they'll say, you know what? I'm no longer fighting with my thoughts. No matter how bad I want to, I'm not going to do it because I know that's not what is important. Instead, I'm just going to show my brain that I'm being bluffed because I know I am. I'm going to retrain my brain. So I'm taking all of my energy out of fighting with the thoughts and instead putting it on positive accepting behaviors. And I'm going to show my brain, regardless of what my brain throws my way, okay, that this is not the person I am, right? And eventually the brain will catch up. Eventually the brain will catch up. So yeah, I mean, I know that we normally focus on one or the other, With our streams, we normally talk about leaving your thoughts alone or positive accepting behaviors, which is the two main keys. But I really wanted to do this stream so that we could talk about both of the two main keys. It's good to have these streams, right? It's good to have these streams because it reminds people, if you're sitting around all day leaving your thoughts alone, but yet you're using negative behaviors and you're putting so much energy into leaving your thoughts alone, but you're not doing anything to prove to your brain that there's no real danger, you're using all these coping methods, right? Right? Then it's going to be hard for your brain to understand that you're not in real danger. And at the same time, if you're living your life, but yet you're arguing with your thoughts, then you're causing a lot of stress, right? So that's why we need both of the two main keys. Are you using both of the two main keys though, PJ? Or are you spending a lot of time sitting around trying to leave your thoughts alone, but you're not using any positive accepting behaviors, aka living your life independently of the anxiety, showing your brain by doing things that you enjoy, by living, okay, as the person that you want to be? Are you doing that with leaving your thoughts alone? Because that was really the main point of today's stream. The brain wants to be shown that there's no real danger. So you can't keep using all of these same habits, these same coping methods, and say, well, you know what, Wonder Bro, I'm leaving my thoughts alone, but the anxiety is not going away. That's great, but now you need to show the brain too, on top of that, that there's no real danger. How do you do that? Positive accepting behaviors, right? And again, that was really the point of today's stream, that we have two main keys for a reason, right? We have two main keys for a reason. So you need to start doing more things that you enjoy, even if you don't feel like doing them. You need to start being the person that you want to be, even if you don't feel like that on the inside. You need to show your brain that there is no real danger, right? You need to show your brain that there is no real danger. So again, guys, two main keys. There's two main keys for a reason, and I hope this stream helped explain why we have two main keys for a reason and not just one. Two for a reason. Two for a reason, chat. I know you don't necessarily feel like behaving like the person you wish to feel like, but the brain will catch up. The brain will catch up, right? The brain will catch up. I know how it feels to just want to lay around and try to leave your thoughts alone, but you're still, you're not really using any positive accepting behaviors. You're putting all your energy into one of the two main keys, but you're not using the other. You're not getting on with life. You're not using positive accepting behaviors, which can be done in big or small ways, right? It can be as simple as kicking your feet up and watching your favorite comedy movie. It can be as simple as cleaning your room. It can be as simple as taking your dog for a walk. It can be as simple as wearing a smile more often, right? I used to be in Wonderbro Discord, try and find any kind of relief. Use these keys. Trust me, they work. That's awesome. That is awesome. Very proud of you and your success. Keep it up. Keep it up. Yeah, so I've got a little success comment that I found before the stream that I was going to read to you guys. So somebody said, I started acting like this 10 days ago. And when they say I started acting like this 10 days ago, they mean they started to use positive accepting behaviors, right? And they left their thoughts alone. They started using the two main keys. And it works. My negative thoughts reduced dramatically. My worry is somehow vanishing. I have been suffering from anxiety for over 2 years. I feel way better now. God bless you, brother. So, basically, when they say I started acting like this 10 days ago, they're referring to positive accepting behaviors. They're referring to the two main keys. They're referring to, instead of trying to fight with their thoughts and take so much energy and put it into their thoughts, they're just letting the thoughts be, just leaving them alone. They're not trying to fight them. They're just letting them run wild, right? And instead, they're focusing on positive accepting behaviors to prove to the brain that they're being bluffed, to prove to the brain that there is no real danger. And once they started doing this, keep in mind, they said 10 days ago, 10 days ago, and it works. My negative thoughts reduced dramatically. My worry is somehow vanishing. I have been suffering from anxiety for over 2 years. So this person had been suffering from anxiety for over 2 years, but they took the two main keys and they really ran with it. They started to behave like the person they wanted to feel like, and they left the thoughts alone in the process. And guess what? They say within 10 days, okay, somehow their worry started to vanish, right? And now they're starting to feel like a new person after 2 years. 2 years of anxiety. So there you go, guys. Do you want it? Do you want it bad enough? Right? So this is the question. Two main keys right here. It's extremely normal to have a bit of a tug of war sick, but remember, two main keys, dude, all the way. Retrain that brain. But yes, the tug of war is extremely normal. Extremely, extremely normal. You got to give it all you got, chat. You got to retrain that brain. You got to give it all you got. If you're sitting around trying not to argue with your thoughts, but yet you're just doing the same shit every day, like negative behaviors, coping methods, your brain's not really learning. It's great that you're working on leaving your thoughts alone, but your brain's not really learning, right? But if you dedicate to the two main keys, if you leave the thoughts alone, let them come and go as they will, let the feelings come and go as they will, but you show your brain with your new behaviors that all is well and that there is no real danger, because logically you know that, and now the brain needs to be shown that. If you do that, you will be like the people who have recovered in the chat. If you do that, you will be like the person who left that comment the other day. If you do that, you will be like myself. You will recover, chat. There is nothing that can stop you but yourself. So if you're looking for the reason that you have not recovered yet, or if you're not making the progress that you wish to be making, it's time to stand up, go look in the mirror, right? It's time to stand up and go look in the mirror, chat. And we all need that realization one day. We all need that realization one day. And we all need to be honest with ourselves in the coping methods that we're still using. We all need to be honest with ourselves in the same habits that we do every single day that is not showing the brain, okay, with positive accepting behaviors. It's always great. It's always great to be with your feelings and to allow your feelings, right? But get on with your life too. Make sure to get on with your life too. Don't react fearfully to fear, right? So also, there was a little quote that I was going to read you guys. We've read this before in a stream, but it's always a helpful little reminder. I posted it on the Vacate Fear Facebook page recently, today actually. So it goes like this. The amygdala, okay, which is responsible for setting your anxiety levels, for setting your anxiety off, right, can only be trained with behavior and memory. It cannot be trained by language. Um, I can't say, you better listen to me when I'm talking to you. The amygdala cares jack, right? All it wants is prove that you're not scared by behaving without fear, and I'll buy it. Until then, my alarm bells are ringing. Now, this does not happen overnight. As soon as you start behaving without fear, what does that mean? That means to get on with your life, positive, accepting behaviors. Even if your body and mind are filled with fear, you are behaving independently of them, right? So prove that you're not scared by behaving without fear, right? And I'll buy it. But until then, my alarm bells are ringing. And why do you think Dr. Clearweek's recommended floating? Because that's the opposite of reacting fearfully, right? So we just call it positive accepting behaviors. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but you need to prove to your brain that there's no real danger. You need to prove to your brain that there's no real danger. And the reason it says it can't be taught with language means that you can't get up in your brain. You can try, and most of you have tried for years. I tried for years. You can't get up with your brain and get up there and say, hey, let me fight with these thoughts. I'll prove to you that they're not really dangerous, right? It's too late. The brain wants to be shown. The brain can't be told, right? And that's why we say fighting with your thoughts is pointless. That's why we say it's completely stressful. Instead, leave your thoughts alone. Show your brain with positive accepting behaviors that all is well. That is the two main keys, and that's why the two main keys are what they are. That is why the two main keys are what they are. The amygdala cannot be trained, or can only be trained with behavior and memory. It cannot be trained with language, right? Prove that you're not scared by behaving without fear, and I'll buy it. Notice it says, don't feel not afraid. It's not saying don't feel not afraid. No, you do feel afraid. It's saying behave without fear. So how would you behave without fear? That's your physical action that you take, right? And again, positive accepting behaviors. How would you behave? How would you act if you didn't have anxiety? How would you behave? How would you act if there was not a real danger? And then do that thing. It can be as simple as a smile. It could be simple as setting up straight, cleaning your room, whatever. The list goes on and on and on. Get creative. Don't be afraid to get creative, right? So again, that's so important. It's not saying don't feel afraid. It's saying no, I know you're afraid, but you need to prove, okay, by behaving without fear that all is well, and then I'll buy it, right? And then I'll buy it. So again, what is causing your body to experience such debilitating symptoms? Your thoughts? Sure. But if you know your thoughts are irrational, then why are you still feeling afraid? Again, the answer lies in the amygdala. So again, you cannot teach the brain by fighting with it, but mentally, with language. The brain wants to be shown. So that is why the two main keys are what they are. Leave the thoughts alone because that fight is very, very stressful and it's completely pointless. Instead, just prove to the brain that there is no real danger by behaving without fear, and then it'll start to buy it. This takes time, but it will start to buy it, right? And that's exactly why the two main keys are what they are. The two main keys. That's exactly why they are what they are, chat. And again, if you need motivation, if you need to get going, if you need to get on track, you need to get up and look in the mirror, okay? Because that's who's responsible for your recovery right there. When you get up and you look in the mirror, that's who's responsible for your recovery right there. So let's read that comment again that we got the other day to give some people some more motivation. Okay, so I started acting like this 10 days ago. They're referring to the two main keys. I left the thoughts alone and I started to behave like the person I wanted to feel like, and it works. My negative thoughts reduced dramatically. My worry is somehow vanishing. Right? I've been suffering for 2 years with anxiety. I feel way better now. So 2 years with anxiety, and within 10 days of using the two main keys, their worry is somehow vanishing and my negative thoughts have reduced dramatically. So you need to get up and you need to ask yourself, chat, am I really using the two main keys to their full potential? Am I really making every day count? Or am I just kind of dragging through? Am I just kind of getting by? You really need to ask yourself that question, chat. You really, really need to. So, for example, once this stream goes off, are you going to go to bed? Are you going to, well, you should probably go to bed if it's your bedtime, but are you going to go to bed? Are you going to resort to sitting on your couch and hitting the Google up? Are you going to resort to the forums? Are you going to resort to the same coping methods you've been using for years that has shown your brain that there's a problem where there's not a problem? Or are you going to get up and do something positive today? Are you going to get up and listen to your favorite song? Are you going to get up and take that shower you've been avoiding? Whatever. The list goes on and on. I can't tell you what to do. That's up to you. It's completely up to you. But I'm giving you examples. I'm giving you examples, chat. So you really have to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Am I using the two main keys to their full potential? Let's get some honesty in chat, right? And if you realize that you're not using the two main keys to their full potential, what can you do today to use those two main keys to their full potential? To their full potential. And again, we're not asking you to do the impossible. We're not asking you to completely drain your batteries. We're simply asking you to behave as the person you wish to be. So when that anxiety is there, because that's when the anxiety learns, is when it's there. This is when it's going to matter the most. This is when it's going to matter the most. This is when it's going to matter the most. It has nothing to do with us wanting you to drain your batteries completely and exhaust yourself. A positive behavior could be as simple as kicking your feet up and watching your favorite movie and making yourself laugh because you know it's funny, right? Even if you don't feel like it at the moment. So we're not asking you to exhaust yourself. We're simply asking you to behave without fear, right? That's what we're asking. All right, Chad. That was a mouthful. Forgive me for the mini rant, but I hope it helps somebody out there understand what we're trying to say. I can take some comments now. Take some comments. I am focused on the chat now. I promise. I promise. I am focused. I am focused. I am focused. How are you doing with the whole pandemic deep inside me? I feel like this is all part of the agenda to control. I don't know, man. That's a big can of worms. Everybody's got their opinion, right? Everybody's got their opinion. I will always advocate for the two main keys regardless of what's going on, right? That's what we're here for. Do 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 do. Vacate Fear, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, guys, check it out. I rarely ever plug my socials, so why not? Let's do a social media plug real quick. Let's do a social media plug real quick. I think we're what guys? Did we just pass like 9,400? I think. I don't know. Let's check. 9,400 subscribers? Maybe? 9,400 and something. I don't know. We're about at that halfway mark. Oh, we are so close. We are so close, chat. We are so close. I could taste it, chat. I could taste it. Thank you guys so much. Almost at that 10K mark, man. I have been dreaming about that moment. I have been dreaming about that moment for so long. It's about to happen. That is a huge milestone. Honestly, that's probably one of the hardest milestones to get to. That grind, man. That grind. Hey, I have you guys to thank for that. Pat yourselves on the back. Couldn't have done it without you. I would get some music going, but honestly, I do not want to fight with ads today. We need to find a good playlist that's not filled with ads. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. Let's see. I'm gonna try something actually. Um, I thought about this last night, and I think it's kind of a cool idea to use for the channel. You can probably hear my live wallpaper going off. All right. I've had a rough couple weeks, and I've been accepting and not fearing any physical symptoms. Today, as soon as I woke up, it felt different, a good, different, calm. It feels weird. That's awesome. Continue to show your brain, right? Continue to show your brain that there's no need for this overprotection. That's really what it comes down to. The brain wants proof. I mean, it just wants the best for you, right? It wants proof that all is well. So you got to give it that proof. How do you give it that proof? You can't talk to it. You can't really talk to it because you see how well that goes. Fighting with the thoughts never goes that well. Oh, that's cool. Can I use that? Maybe? Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to use this. Let's see. How would I go about doing this? It's like people are willing to use the positive accepting behaviors until it's like game time. and and their anxiety is high, and then it gets a bit different. But you got to remember in those moments you're being bluffed, and you need to prove that. What's up, Blake? Let's see. Okay. All right, guys. Sorry, I am doing something over here. Just give me like 2 seconds. Okay, there's that. There's that. All right. So now what we're gonna do? Now what we're gonna do? What's up, Hank? Welcome to the stream, dude. So you know how after every time we make the point of the stream, like the point of the stream is over, right? And then we normally just chill. Like we normally just chill and we take viewer questions and stuff like that. So I want kind of like a slide for that. I know you can't see right now. You'll be able to in just a second. I want just kind of a slide for that, just for like, so when people are clicking on the streams in the future, they'll be able to see exactly where they are in the stream. So, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do for that. So, we're going to name this, all right? Give me just a second here. We're going to do something like this. We're going to do something like this. We're going to go down here and we're going to click on this, and then we're going to type something like this. And then we're going to change, no, actually we don't need to change that. This is going to be our post stream, and then we're going to make that look a little bit better by adding a outline. We're going to change the color of that outline to black. Alright. Then we're going to increase that outline size a bit. It's a little bit too much. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to add some more stuff here. Some more stuff here. It's kind of like the post streams are kind of like a podcast in a way, honestly. Um, so now we can bring this over. Bring this over. Alright, cool. So basically, in the future, when people are clicking through my pre-recorded streams, they'll be able to see exactly where they are in the stream. So if you see this screen, chat, if you see this screen when you're clicking through the streams that have already been uploaded, when you see this screen, then you know where you are. You know that you're in post stream. You know that you're in post stream. You know that the main point of the stream is over. And at this point in the stream, we answer viewer questions and stuff like that. So, let's see. Ba-da-bum, bum, bum, bum. Ba-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. Every night I put my phone next to my pillow and listen to soft music as I drift to sleep. I'm anxious about cell phone radiation. What are your thoughts? Cell phone radiation. Me personally, if that was a thing, I'd probably growing a third arm by now, like out of the top of my head or something. If radiation from, like, if that's like actually a problem, I'd probably have already grown a third arm out of the side of my head by now or something crazy like that. Post stream, we're gonna spice this up a little bit more. We need our notification box, or our alert box rather. We're gonna put that alert box right here. I know you guys can't see what I'm talking about. Wait, that's the right word, right? Like if something's over, you call it post. Is that correct? Can chat confirm that for me? The word post. So post stream means the main point of the stream's already over, right? Correct? Chat? Yes, I think. Can somebody in chat confirm that for me? See, I've been wanting to do something like this for a while, so that when people click on the streams in the future, they can tell exactly where they are. If you see this screen, then you know the stream's already over. The main point of the stream is already over, and I'm answering viewer questions, and I'm just hanging out with my chat. So if you see this screen, that's what's going on. If you see the other screen with my webcam, you'll always see my face. You will see my face when the main point of the stream is happening, right? So that's how you know we're on main point of the stream. And then we need to do a slide for pre-stream, which is when we wait for people to get in and we talk about channel news and stuff like that. So that's what we're doing. We're going to have 3 different screens for ease of access, right? For ease of access for the chat here. I've just been a little bit too lazy to do it until now, so here we go. Been too lazy to do it until now. What's up, Danny? It's Bruce. What's up, Bruce? So let's see. Ask questions. Hang out. Relax. Right there. Beautiful. Beautiful. So we're going to do it just like that. You see what we're getting at, chat? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like it. We got to add our outline, though, so it doesn't look like crap. Bada bing, bada boom, baby. That's simple. Bada bing, bada boom. And then we'll make this bad boy a little bit bigger. Just like that. And then we'll take this and slow it down just a little bit so it doesn't loop too much. Just like that. Bada bing, bada boom. That's how you make a post-stream slide. Let's see here. Can you like spice these up a little bit more? Is that a thing? Can you spice these words up somehow? I don't know. You know what? Sometimes simple is best, so that's what we'll go with. Bada bing, bada boom, baby. Let's see here. Oh, we used to have this guy. We need music for our post stream, chat. We need music for our post stream. Wait, did I not? Oops. I don't think I saved that. I don't think I saved that, chat. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh man, this world is so filled with radiation, dude, you're not gonna escape it. Like, if that was a thing, you'd already have an arm growing out of your head. Like if it was a serious, serious threat. What's up, Denise? Welcome to the post stream. Post stream. Okay, so how can I can I literally just make a copy of this? Can I literally just like duplicate this? I can. I can. That's perfect. So we're gonna do this. Okay, now we just need to change the words right here, and then we'll be all good. Then we'll be all good. So we'll click on that. Pre-stream. Pre-stream. Just like that. Move that over. Bada bing, bada boom. We're not actually in the pre-stream. Don't believe that. We're just working on it. Or you know what? Instead of pre-stream, we'll just call it starting soon. Beautiful. Beautiful, chat. So now you know. If you ever have to watch the streams after they happen, if you see the starting soon screen, it's just me chatting and talking, waiting for some people to get in here. And if you see the post stream, it means the stream is over and we're just hanging out. Let's see. And then bada bing. Oh crap. That sucks. I'm gonna have to. Okay. I got this. I got this. Thank you so much for the $10 tip. I appreciate you. Thank you. You're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you so much. I need to fix that. That was like behind everything. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. Okay. So I just need to add this back real quick and we'll be good. We will be good, chat. That'll be all she wrote. I like how I do this on stream instead of like in my own time. Okay. Put that right there. UFO needs to go above that. Wait, why didn't you go above that? Go above that. So, alright, chat. Alright, chat. Here's how this works. Here's how this works. If you see this screen, it means that the stream is starting soon, right? Obviously. And if you see this screen, it means that the stream is over. And if you see this screen, that means that we're on our main point of the stream, alright? Got it. Bada bing, bada boom. That easy. Which means we can get rid of that one. Cool. Alright, cool, cool, cool. Cool, 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 cool. It works out. It works out perfectly. If I clean my whole lot every time someone leaves my home, maybe to an obsessive point, is that anxiety? It's a pandemic, but I think makes my pressure go up if I don't. I love to clean. I love to clean, so. Yeah, thank you again for the tip. Thank you again. I appreciate that so much. We need to get that updated. Thank you again. So I just need to bring that down a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. I think it's perfect. All right, great. So now it should be a lot easier for people to figure out what we're doing. Should be a lot easier for people to figure out where exactly in the stream we are. So there we go. Make it easier on you guys. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Ugh. Yeah, but I mean, to answer your question, Denise, I love to clean. I think cleaning is very therapeutic. And in my mind, it's a positive behavior. You're up, you're moving, you're showing your brain that there's no danger. You're not staying quiet and hiding in your bed, right? So in my mind, it could definitely be seen as a positive behavior. Yeah, it's like Blake said, if you are happy cleaning, then yeah. So, I mean, anything can become a coping method, right? But it's only if you're like doing it and it doesn't make you happy. You're just doing it because you feel like, you know what I mean? You're doing it to try to avoid something. And that's not to say, oh, well, I'm cleaning, so I must be trying to avoid a dirty house. No, I'm simply saying you're trying to avoid anxiety, right? But if it's a positive behavior, then it's a positive behavior. Don't sweat it. Don't think too much about it. Don't think too much about it. Seems like a positive behavior to me. In fact, I mean that's one of the positive behaviors that I used when I was at my worst. It got me up, it got me out of bed, it got me not using so many damn coping methods, right? Because I was too busy being productive. And that's a good thing to show the brain. That is a good thing to show the brain. Hey T, I appreciate that, dude. I don't have my. Let me grab my phone. Hey T, I appreciate that, dude. Thank you for the $5 tip, man. I'm glad you said something because I didn't have my phone. Thank you for that, dude. I appreciate that. Can we show T some love in the chat, please? Thank you for that, dude. So you with me, chat? Are you with me? Are you going to show your brain you're being bluffed tonight as we enter into the night hours? Are you going to do something relaxing? Are you going to do something positive while you let those thoughts just be if they want to be? Because the fight is stressful, the fight is pointless. Instead, we're going to retrain our brains, right? Who's with me, chat? Who's with me? Who's going to have a night of retraining their brain regardless of how shit you feel, right? Who's with me, chat? I got everybody on board with me. You know you're being bluffed because your logical mind can tell you that you're being bluffed. However, you got to prove that to the brain. Am I right? You got to prove that to your sometimes stubborn, or should I say most of the time stubborn, brain. And that's why it's not enough to use logic, and that's why we can't use logic to talk ourselves out of an anxiety state. It's already too late. The anxiety's turned on. It would be a very shit protection mechanism if you could talk yourself out of it, right? So it's automatically turned on. Leave the thoughts alone, show the brain there's no danger. That's what you got to do. You can't try to talk your way out of it. It's not going to listen. It wants to be shown. It's not going to listen. It wants to be shown. And that's why fighting with thoughts is pointless and very, very, very stressful. Very, very, very stressful. Pointless and very, 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 very stressful. I've been listening to music and doing online karaoke to get my brain to remember that all as well. That is awesome. Proud of you, Denise. That is awesome. That's it right there. That is it right there. And again, guys, don't think to yourself, "Oh, but Wonder Bro, that's faking it," because you remember what I said earlier. Just because you feel a certain way does not mean you have to act that way, right? Just because you feel a certain way does not mean you have to act that way. If I'm feeling grumpy and I decide to help the old lady across the street, nobody's going to come up to me and say, "Hey, you're being fake kind. You're showing fake kindness." That doesn't happen. So why do we say that about fear? If I'm feeling afraid but yet I'm behaving unafraid. Like if my body and mind are full of fear, but I'm behaving in a way that doesn't show that I'm afraid, do we call that fake? No, of course we don't. Of course we don't. Of course we don't call that fake. That's the dumbest shit in the world, right? That's so dumb. We don't go up to people and say, "Hey, you're feeling sad today, but you're singing a song. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that. That's fake happiness," right? We accept our feelings. We're not trying to push our feelings away. We accept that we feel fearful. We accept that we're under a false alarm right now. We accept that we feel this way in the body and mind, but instead we show the brain with our behaviors that it's not needed. It's not needed. We show the brain that this false alarm's not needed, that there is no real danger, right? So if you're one of those people who are like, "I just can't dedicate to it because it doesn't feel right." Okay, keep that in mind. Just because you have a feeling doesn't mean you have to behave that way. You can live independently of your feelings, which is what you've got to do to show your brain. Which is what you've got to do to show your brain that there's no real danger. I think I just farted on the inside. Is that a thing? Is that a thing, chat? Like that felt and sounded like an actual fart, but it wasn't. Huh. It's interesting. That is interesting. Wonder Bro, tell my anxiety to knock it off because it's not listening to me. It never will listen to you. You have to show it, right? And that's why we say fighting with your thoughts is pointless. The brain can't be spoke to in language, right? I mean, you can try, but you see how far that gets you. The brain has to be shown. There's only one way for the caveman brain to determine whether or not you're in real danger, and that's you showing it with your behaviors, right? So that's why we say the amygdala does not speak English. It does not speak English, and that's why we say fighting with the thoughts is pointless and stressful. The brain can't be told, it needs to be shown. So that's very important when you say, "Tell my anxiety to knock it off, it's not listening to me." It'll never listen to you. It doesn't listen to anybody. So people spend years and years and years fighting mentally with their anxiety, and it never listens. Because it never will, because it only learns in one way. So leave the thoughts alone, positive accepting behaviors. That's why the two main keys are what they are. So I'm really glad you made that comment. I'm actually really glad you made that comment so that we could point that out to you. So that's excellent. That is excellent. That is excellent. Again, guys, I know how it feels. I know you don't necessarily feel like behaving without fear when you're full of fear, but that's the only way the brain's going to listen to you. And a perfect example of that is that there's a lot of people, I'm not saying everybody, but there's a lot of people that know that their thoughts are irrational, right? Right. So Blake, for example, in the chat saying, "Do I have to worry about cell phone radiation at night?" Is that something you worried about before? Do you feel like your body's overreacting to this a bit? Logically, Blake can know that his body is overreacting. Logically, Blake can know that this thought might be a bit of an exaggeration, might be a bit of a stretch. Now, I'm not saying he does know that, but logically, Blake can know that this is just a sticky thought that's causing fear that's a little bit irrational or a lot irrational. Logically, Blake can know that, but that is not enough. And that is why fighting with those thoughts is pointless anyway. See, Blake says, "Yes, I know I'm overreacting." So logically, Blake knows that. He knows that. But yet he still feels the anxiety. He still feels the overreaction from the body. Even though he logically knows that this is an overreaction. So what's happening? What's the problem? If Blake knows that the thought is irrational, if Blake knows that he's overreacting, then why does he still feel fearful, right? Well, that's because getting involved with the thoughts is pointless because of that reason. You could know logically that you're overreacting, that the body's overreacting. That's not enough. That's not enough. You have to show that to the brain. So that's where people fall short. That's where people are like, what the hell, dude? I know these thoughts are irrational. I know I'm overreacting. Like, what the fuck? If I know these thoughts are irrational, Wonder Bro, isn't that enough? Isn't that enough? Unfortunately, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not. You have to now show the brain with positive accepting behaviors and leaving the thoughts alone because you already logically know they're bullshit, so what's the point of fighting with them anyway, right? What's the point of fighting with them anyway? That's just extra stress, spending extra energy where you don't need to spend it. So if you already know logically that a lot of this is irrational, and that's not enough, then what is enough? Then what do we need to do? Well, now you need to show the brain that you know it's logically irrational. So knowing that something is logically irrational isn't enough. You need to remind yourself in the moment, I know this is logically irrational, but now I need to prove that to my brain with my positive accepting behaviors and just leaving these thoughts alone. Because that's how the brain learns, right? So that's very important, and I'm glad you made that comment. I'm glad you made that comment. That's why a lot of the time, you guys, you'll notice, and I did this a lot myself too in my recovery, I would sit around and I'd be like, dude, I've already worked out all these thoughts. I know they're bullshit. I don't understand. Why do I feel this way? I know this is stupid because of reasons A, B, and C, right? I know it's stupid. And, I would sit around and I'd tell myself, I know this is stupid because A, B, and C. So why do I still feel this way? It's because your brain needs to be shown. You're acting and behaving negatively because you're anxious, right? So that's what people do. They act and behave negatively when they're anxious. So your brain is mistaking that for you being in real danger. So even though you logically know all this stuff, the brain doesn't. And that's why you feel the way you do, right? So you got to teach the brain in the only way the brain learns, and that's positive accepting behaviors. Man, I feel bad for you that you have so small audience. Man, don't feel bad for me, bro. We're almost at 10K. What do you mean? Get out of here. I'm kidding. Stay. Don't leave. Um, we're almost at 10K, man. I have my audience to thank for that. We've only been doing this for about 2 or 3 years now, so don't feel bad for me, dude. We're growing at a pretty good rate. I'm happy with where I'm at. 10K is right around the corner, and I have you guys to thank for that. Man, feel happy for me, dude. I want you to feel happy for me. I get to do this every single day, and I love what I do. I love helping people. 10,000 right around the corner. I have a very supportive audience. I have a great community, one of the most loving communities on YouTube. Don't feel bad for me, dude. Feel happy for me. There ain't nothing to feel bad about. I'm right where I want to be. Scientifically, cell phone radiation is less powerful than visible light. That's right. The light from light bulbs in my room are more likely to kill me than the phone. Hell, the sun is more likely to kill me. So you logically know all this, right? You logically know all this, but guess what? Your brain's not on the same page. It can't be told. It needs to be shown. It can't be told. It needs to be shown. So as long as the negative behaviors are in place, the brain's going to continue to be confused. Now, your logical side of your brain knows that it's bullshit. But what do you have to do to prove to your irrational caveman side of the brain? You have to prove it. You have to prove that you know it's bullshit. How do you do that? Positive accepting behaviors. And that's where a lot of people fall short. That's where a lot of people fall short. So that's why we have two main keys for a reason. Fighting with the thoughts is pointless because you already know deep down it's irrational. So now you have to prove that to your brain. So a lot of people, they know it's pointless, they know it's bullshit, but they continue to do it because they're not doing the other two main key, which is the positive accepting behaviors. And this is where they're falling short. This is where the brain is not getting the message, right? Exactly, Melissa, more or less, right? How would you act? How would you behave if you didn't have anxiety, if you weren't feeling anxious? Do that to prove to the brain that there's no real danger. That brain has got to be shown, guys. It's got to be shown that there's not a problem. If you continue negative, fearful behaviors, it's going to think there's a problem. That's how anxiety works. It wants to protect you, but it doesn't speak English. It speaks behaviors, right? Oh, I love my community, Ivan. I might not have 1 million subscribers, but I've got 10,000 real motherfuckers. Okay, okay. Well, keep in mind, Blake, that you can accept that as a fact, but you still need to show that to the brain, right? You still need to show that to the brain. Positive accepting behaviors. Well, leave it alone is just more of a reminder to yourself that fighting with the thoughts is pointless, and that instead you need to focus on retraining your brain. That's what leave it alone is for. It's just a reminder that, hey, fighting with these thoughts is going to get me nowhere. I need to retrain my brain. And then these thoughts will take care of themselves. That's what leave it alone is. It's just a reminder. Kind of keeps people on track in the moment, right? Keeps people on track in the moment. Keeps people on track. Fear won't leave because you're showing your brain with your negative behaviors that there's a reason for the fear, right? So you're doing all this mental work, but you're doing no positive accepting behaviors. The brain's never going to get the message. So if you lay in bed all the time and try to fight the thoughts, but you're not showing the brain that these thoughts are bullshit, if you're not showing the brain that this protection isn't needed, the brain's going to continue to assume that the protection is needed, therefore the fear is there, right? So behaving without fear does not mean to not feel fearful. You absolutely will feel fearful, but you have to behave like there's no real danger, because there's not. Because as long as you continue to behave like there's a real danger, the brain is going to assume there is. So the ball's in your court. The brain is looking up to you. It's not the other way around. The brain is looking up to you. I know that you're full of fear, but what message are you going to send the brain? Are you going to continue negative behaviors and tell the brain that this fear is needed? Or are you going to feel the fear but act independently of it with positive accepting behaviors every single day and show the brain that this fear is not needed? Right? So the ball's really in your court. And that's why we say fighting with the thoughts is pointless. You can know the thoughts are irrational, that's not enough. So that's why the two main keys are leave the thoughts alone, focus on retraining your brain with positive accepting behaviors, right? You can't have one without the other. So if you're feeling fearful, that's the perfect opportunity to show your brain that this fear isn't needed. And that's not going to make it vanish immediately, but that means while you're feeling fearful, you are purposely showing the brain with your positive accepting behaviors that all is well. So if you're hunkered down in bed all the time, you're just telling your